This is going to be a very quick synopsis to give you just the basic backbone of what the encryption methods were that were being used to create this amazing Shakespeare subterfuge. We're going to start here at Holy Trinity Church in Stratford-on-Avon, where the bard is supposedly buried. That's the man who was born Shakespeare, actually. The man we're told was Shakespeare. Here's me at the piano on Shakespeare's official birthday, playing excerpts from my musical for the congregation. Right behind the piano here is Shakespeare's gravestone, which is a very cryptic message. It doesn't even have Shakespeare's name on it. Above my head is Shakespeare's monument, which is an equally cryptic message in Latin and English. And about 15 feet behind me is the Holy of Holies altar stone, which turns out to be the absolute center of this brilliant and elegant encryption that you're about to see. Now, on this particular day, that altar stone was being hidden by the banner proclaiming the name of the musical that I was playing for them, so that when the lights went out, we did the final part of the show, everything was in complete darkness, and my team was able to radar scan that altar to get the proof that the codes were actually true and accurate. But we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here. We need to start with Moses on Mount Sinai. Here he is looking at the burning bush where God gave him his name, Ehyeh, Asher, Ehyeh, which is translated, I am that I am. Now in Hebrew, it's read right to left, and the three letters that start each of those words are Aleph and Aleph and Aleph. However, during the Renaissance, it was a very common form of cryptography to use an inverted Hebrew alphabet, such that the Aleph becomes the Tav. The first shall be last, and that means that each Aleph becomes a Tav, and their Greek equivalent is Tau, or the letter T, and this was adopted later by the Freemasons as what's called a triple Tau, to give the secret name of God and use it in special encodings. It actually references the three crosses on Calvary, which were actually just Tau crosses, and a special symbol was used to indicate those three Taus all joined together at the base, but they also look like a TH because three of the Latin meanings of the secret meaning of this icon are keys to the treasure, place where the precious thing is concealed, and the most important TH of all, Templum Hierosolyma, or Solomon's Temple. Now here, looking at the gravestone, you can see that there is a triple Tau vertically right there in the middle of the gravestone, as forming the basis of a cross that has Jesus' name on it. And in between those three Taus are two letter Ys, and those are what's called a printer's thorn. They are actually a shortcut for saying TH. So the last lines read, blessed be the man that spares these stones, and cursed be he that moves my bones. So you've actually got two Ys that are THs, you've got three Ts, which are the TH symbolism of a triple Tau. And there are THs, but they're not actually separate letters. You see, they are ligatured together, mimicking this secret symbol of the triple Tau. Keys to the treasure, place where the precious thing is concealed. Are there any THs in the monument itself? Well, there are indeed. There's 10 of them, and every single one of them is ligatured that same way.
No way!
There's also two very mysterious ligatures right in the middle here, the letters M and E ligatured together. So what is it saying? It's saying, I am that I am, me, in a pattern of 4-2-6, read left to right, or Hebraic fashion, 6-2-4, read right to left. Now, in another video, you will have seen the special geometry that is hidden in the title page of the sonnets, so I won't go into that here, but you turn the page and the first thing you see is this dedication, and it too is cryptic. It is placed in three inverted triangular shapes of 6 lines, 2 lines, 4 lines. So again, the 6-2-4. And there are dots between every word, and when you count the dots, a 6th dot, and the 2nd, and the 4th, and the 6th, and the 2nd, and the 4th, and the 6th, 2, it forms a sentence that says these sonnets, all by Ever or Evere, the fourth T. Well, Ever or Evere was a common, very simple anagram that Edward de Vere used to indicate his name, Edward de Vere, E. Vere. And indeed, his own name, Edward de Vere, is a 624, and he has been the leading candidate to be Shakespeare for about the last 100 years. So, looking again at this situation, you've got 624 read right to left. Well, this man died, supposedly, on 624, June 24th. But he didn't. He faked his death, and I could show you that in many, many, many other codes. This guy, the man from Stratford, 426, his baptism was on 426, April 26. Here's his baptism certificate, April 26. It's been fixed to tell you that that's it, because it has to be part of the codes. This is supposedly crosses of the neighbours and his parents who were illiterate, but no, it's really 3 crosses, isn't it? 3 T's. And so, what is the 4th T? The 4th T, if the 3 T's on Calvary are Christ and the 2 thieves, the 4th person to be crucified after that event was St. Peter, who had denied Christ 3 times, and when he was caught up with and he asked to be crucified, he said, "Please crucify me upside down. I'm not worthy of being crucified the same way as my Lord." So the 4th T is an upside down Tau cross. Now, putting this dedication into a grid, this was again another form of cryptography. You just take all the letters of the dedication and throw them in round and round and round like this, but you have to know how many you make the grid out of. In this case, you just try every single one until you find revealed these secret hidden vertical messages. This is a 19 grid that reveals this. You're looking for the triple tau, which is there, but we're looking for the 4th T, an inverted tau cross. And there it is in the shape of de Vere. Interesting. Let's look at the monument. The monument is a lot of letters in it, but if you put it into a 55 grid, you finally find these 2, the triple tau and E. Vere, Edward de Vere. And looking at the gravestone, it takes a 17 grid. There's your triple tau, and here's the inverted cross right next to it. The Vere's triple tau, the triple tau that belongs to Edward de Vere. De Vere means, de Vere in Latin, the name means truth. There's something else, though. We see here there's a vertical triple S, and these form a sort of a Solomon's Temple, Solomon's Temple, Solomon's Temple 3 times. Here's what it's referring to. The Holy of Holies in Solomon's Temple contains the Ark of the Covenant in its center. The Freemasonic symbolism for Holy of Holies is that triple tau. The Freemasonic symbolism for the Ark is the triple S. And so you find that on the gravestone, right next to each other. And on the triple tau part of it, the cross that forms the triple tau has this word across the top, Set. Well, who's Set? Set is the Egyptian deity who kills the king, Osiris, cuts him into many parts. His job is really, he's Maya. He's dividing the truth of the oneness into the many. It's just really a metaphor for unity, God becoming everything in creation. Set is there, but also right next to it in the triple S section, look at that, the cross there also contains the word Set. And even the cross next to it, the Vere's cross, has above it the word Set. This is, in other words, this eternal game of destroying the idea of unity into multiplicity. That's Set's job. The root word is Satan, but it just means he who divides, to create Maya. Well, of course, who comes along to revenge his father's death but Horus? Horus has to do battle with Set and kill him in order to return the family to the original trinity of unity consciousness. But really, these are, Set is King Claudius, Horus is Prince Hamlet, Osiris is King Hamlet, the ghost. This entire thing, the Egyptian myth, is the story of Hamlet, or I should say vice versa. So here we are. What else is here in the gravestone? Time to introduce you to this man, John Dee, leading mathematician of the time, astrologer, cryptographer, super spy, Hebrew scholar, angel communicator. He was the Queen's spy in Europe, and here she is in her favorite frock. ears and eyes you see in the encoding in the gravestone that he has created, because he was known as the ears and eyes of Her Majesty, and she's got ears and eyes all over this dress saying, don't mess with me, I've got my spies everywhere, I hear and see everything. What else is here? Well, D has signed it with 2 pillars, like the Solomon's Temple pillars, but he's also so clever and so humorous to place OOD in the shape of a figure 7. Why? Because his actual code number for spying in Europe was 007. And, of course, Ian Fleming knew that and incorporated it to the James Bond story. So we've got 3 uses of the absolute, same system. Triple tau, inverted tau cross against it with the name Veers everywhere. What else do we know about John T? We're going to jump forward to when he's doing angel communications in Europe. The angels literally channeled to him on June 24th, 624, an encoding of this that's called the Enochian tables. Here's his handwriting, giving you the grid formation of it. How many squares are there? Oh, 624. So looking at the 3 touchstones that I've shown you, the sonnet's dedication, adding up all of the characters there, all of the characters in the monument, all of the characters in the gravestone, turns out that how many are there? 624. I think a fairly obvious invitation to put these together. The public key and the private key is how cryptography works. The public key is what we're looking for, and we've already been shown it. Clavis ad thesaurem, the TH, keys to the treasure. So here's what we've just seen, the sonnet's dedication, monument, gravestone. That must be obviously put into the 624 characters of the Enochian tables, and that's all you do. You just need to know the key. The key is the TT of the name Thomas Thorpe, who's supposedly the publisher, but his name isn't it? THTH, Thomas Thorpe. Again, mimicking that symbol, the TH is here, the TH is here. You just simply look for those double T's in the public key, and you point them across to the Enochian tables, and they reveal a message in the Enochian tables. The brilliance of this is, though, that there's the same number of double T's in the Enochian tables in different places, and they point back to the public key and reveal other letters here that give you message number 2. Now, if you revolve it, as you are told to do in Twelfth Night, Malvolio, there's a scene in Twelfth Night where Malvolio is trying to solve a code that has to be turned around. And he says, if this falls into their hand, revolve. It's never solved in the play. It's for us to solve. It's telling us how to solve the entire Shakespeare riddle. So, literally, okay, let's turn it around. Turn the Enochian tables around, and those letters in the Enochians are going to point to completely different letters in the public key now, but they reveal message number 3, and the double T's in the public key reveal another message. It's absolutely brilliant, absolutely inconceivable how it was created, but there it is. It's pointing you to the altar stone, the Holy of Holies, and it says, living page. There's a page being kept alive for posterity. Okay, a message. Yo stigmata. Yo meant really pay attention to. It's a medieval word. Stigmata, where are the stigmata? They are the wounds that are cut into the Holy of Holies altar stone on the surface. They're the only place you find them in a Catholic church. Where I have hewn. I have cut into stone. Desiderata, Latin for what I want you to know, my desires. Living page, yo stigmata. I have hewn desiderata. It's a Shakespearean rhyming couplet in tetrameter form telling you that the solution is inside the altar. And the altar is called the Holy of Holies. Where does it get that name from? Well, the original Templum Hierosolym, Solomon's Temple. When you enter Solomon's Temple here, go through the middle and get to the Holy of Holies, wherein is kept the Ark of the Covenant, isn't it? What's the name of the Holy of Holies in Hebrew? It's this. And that name is pronounced Devir. So the clue is given to us in Hamlet.
What do you read, my lord?
Words.
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 That word, devir, its root word is deverim, which means word. word. So every time Hamlet says words, 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 he's saying devere, devere, devere. He's giving the whole game away. How brilliant. He's telling you not only his own name, but he's telling you the actual Hebrew name for the Holy of Holies. The answer is in the altar. The answer to Shakespeare is devere. Now you know what I was doing there. We're hiding the altar behind the banner. So now we can move forward and see. Here's the devere and the ark in Solomon's temple. Remember, those names for that are the triple tau and the triple S. So there are many, many, many other codes that go between this and what I'm going to show you now, but this is perhaps the most exciting modern ramification, because there's often been the thought, did Shakespeare have anything to do with the King James Bible? And if he did, this would absolutely cause seismic shocks in the Stratfordian story, because it's just impossible that the man from Stratford could have done this. We're looking at the absolute cover page of the King James Bible. Going to look at the Psalm 46. Psalm 46 is curious because people have noted maybe there's a clue here. 46 word from the beginning is the word shake. 46 word from the end is the word spear. Okay. That's as far as it's gone, though, with basic popular conjecture. I've taken it a lot further and put these psalms into grids, but the essential, simple one that I'm going to show you here is from the beginning to spear, and that's 156 words. From shake to the very end is 156 words, and together they add up to 312. Is that significant? Well, let's have a look at the actual engraving on the cover of the Bible, and we see that there's only these words. So the words, the text, we're going to calculate, well, how many characters are there, because that's the way John Dee does his encryptions. Well, it turns out there's 312. and 312 is precisely half of the Enochian tables, right? The 624. And now we realize why this is, from the beginning to spear is 156, and from shake to the end is 156. It's each of the quadrants of the Enochian tables. So obviously we're supposed to, just like we did to solve the altar, we're going to put the characters that are in the King James Bible engraving into this half of the Enochian tables, and they fit absolutely perfectly down to the last dot, of course, because there's 312 of them. Now, Polonius in the play Hamlet says, I will find where truth were hid, hid indeed within the center. Most important thing is always put in the center. So here's the absolute center of this grid, and we find right here, look at this, the letters Micah. Who's Micah? Micah's an Old Testament prophet. What's Micah 3:12 then? We look at Micah 3:12, and it says, therefore, because of you, Zion shall be plowed as a field, and Jerusalem shall become a heap of ruins. He's prophesying the absolute destruction of Solomon's temple the first time by Nebuchadnezzar. Well, of course, that's very important, isn't it? Because that's the moment that we don't know where the Ark of the Covenant is anymore. It disappeared and was never really, as far as anyone knows, seen again during that first destruction of Solomon's temple. So Micah, 312 characters, 312, he's telling you it's about that. It's about the Ark of the Covenant and Solomon's temple. Let's look at the grid then. First thing I look for is a triple tau, and there's only one, and it's right here vertically. But if you stretch it out, you realize, oh my goodness, look at that. Just exactly the same system as used in the gravestone. The triple tau is there, but there's also the two Y's, the two thorns that mean TH. Looks very much as though John Dee has done this again, doesn't it? Because he's the architect behind all the cryptography and the gravestone. Okay, crossing that is, this word set. Yes, remember? We just went through it. There's the set at the top of the triple tau cross. There's the set at the top of the triple S cross. There's the set. It's the eternal story of the Maya delusion, the Hamlet story of Set, the jealous brother usurping the throne of the king. So is there a via cross? Yes. You see, this essentially represents, that's the TTT, which in another way of essentially saying what it represents is the tree of life in the Garden of Eden. Where therefore is the tree of knowledge of good and evil that's also in the Garden of Eden? Well, there's a via cross, V-E-R-E. Now, it has these other letters going right down through its body of the cross. I'm not going to get into those. They represent Roman numerals, 100, 1,000, 100, 1,000. They are representing actually biblical passages that refer to exactly how much David and Solomon spent to build Solomon's temple, and but there's too much to go into here. But it's the actual amounts that are represented in the Bible to tell you about that. Well, look at this. Right over that cross, the word yo again. Remember what that meant? Look carefully at, really pay attention to. Yo. Yo stigmata was in the altar solution. Well, hanging off this side of that cross is the word serpent. Serpent. John Dee embedded an inverted cross with the name serpent in the gravestone grid. He also intertwined it, though, with Satan. Satan, or Set, the one who is just simply he who opposes, who creates the Maya delusion, makes the whole world into an illusion, thinking you are separate from the divine. And wrapped around that is the name Yeshua. All three totally intertwined to tell you, yes, that's essentially the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, isn't it? The truth of life in creation. And hanging off this, perfectly balanced on the other side of that cross, it says, what? I hide. Of course, I hide a serpent. Yo, pay attention. Look carefully. That's the truth, via. The truth is in this tree of knowledge of good and evil. This is the truth. I hide a serpent. Watch out. Be careful. Okay, so if you look here at that Via's cross, there actually is an other cross inverted against it, a rose cross. The Rosicrucians, who were, John Dee was the head of the Rosicrucians, later that morphed into the Freemasons. They are the ones responsible for securing this knowledge for posterity, keeping it, guarding it through the Dark Ages. The Rose Cross. It's the Rosicrucians who are doing this. Well, down here, there's an inverted cross again, Rose Cross, connected to the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The rose, and it's been crossed. And yes, that's how Shakespeare spells crossed. Crossed, crossed, crossed. But what else do we have here? Essentially, that means we've got the triple tau, don't we? We've got the 3 tau crosses of the tree or cross of life, the tree or cross of knowledge, of the truth, of good and bad, and the truth of the tree of the Rose Cross organization, who are putting this together, guarding this information. But it's exactly the same 3 that Dee had put into the gravestone here, the triple tau, the tree, cross of life. So what's missing, though? We don't have the SSS, the ark. Why go to all this trouble? We must have that. Remember the 4th T. What is the 4th T? It's the ark. So there's the word ark being carried, as it were, by the Rosicrucians, by the Rose Cross. It is supported. And then if we look up here at the Via Cross, the cross of the truth of the situation, of the knowledge of good and evil, it extends, actually, not just Via truth, but de Via, the name of the Holy of Holies altar stone. And connected to it is the ark. So there must be a 4th T cross, mustn't there, in order to give us this balance of TTT and SSS. That, where is it? Take the ark of the Ark of the... Here's the cross that connects them all together. Ark of the Covenant. And you might say, oh, well, and that's not an A, it's an ampersand. Well, that makes it actually far more beautiful than just using an A, because the derivation, the etymology of the ampersand is literally, it comes from the utilization of the Roman cursive letters E and T, which were put together to mean and, but et is the Hebrew participle that is impossible to translate. It's in the Torah, but it's never put into the New Testament because it means the beginning and end of everything. It is the Aleph Tav, the very start of this whole subterfuge of cryptography, isn't it? That's what we started with. Turn the Aleph into the Tav. The Aleph and Tav, the beginning and the end. I am the Alpha and the Omega. So literally using the ampersand there, the covenant, it's telling you the Ark of the Covenant is an eternal covenant from beginning to end of creation. Have faith. It is eternal. This message is being given here, right in the engraving on the King James Bible, and it is obviously done by John Dee. And, oh, well, yes, the son is all by our guy, Edward de Vere, 624. He's finally delivered us the fourth T, the fourth cross that connects all of these together. And if you don't believe he is Shakespeare, well, to be or not to be. Absolutely protecting the entire word ark, surrounding it. Yes, this is brilliant work. But finally, why go to all that trouble if you're not going to tell us where the ark is? Well, there is another cross that goes right through the Rosicrucian's cross, right through the center here. And it says, hidden in a church. Stay tuned. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamed of in our philosophy.